This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Today's episode of the Animanicast is a little bit different because it is a recording from our panel at Phoenix Fan Fusion. That's right. That's right. Nathan and I hosted a panel over at Phoenix Fan Fusion, and Kelly could not be there because, Kelly, you were in Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Luckily, Phoenix was very, for Phoenix weather, it was pretty cool. I mean...
Yeah, like the low 90s. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 100 degrees.
Ooh.
In Florida.
100 with lots of humidity, I'm sure. But...
Yeah, it was pretty miserable. I haven't been in that kind of heat into Disney in years, and well, pretty much since I was a kid. So I usually go out off times.
Oh boy. Well, I'm sorry that the weather wasn't that great, but you still had a good time and everything though.
Yeah.
You did a lot of cool stuff. Saw lots of pictures with you and Spielberg, or at least pictures of Spielberg. Well, we did not see any pictures of Steven Spielberg or anything like that at Fan Fusion, but we did see a lot of folks at our panel, which was very nice to have. We had I would say 50 to 70-ish% full. It was a big room, so it was hard to fill up the whole thing, especially on the first panel of the day, 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday, which getting people into Phoenix Fan Fusion on that first day was insane. As soon as we were done with our panel, we went to go check out some, the stuff at Artist Alley and stuff like that. And boy, oh boy, there was a line out the convention center.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was crazy. So we're actually lucky that we had as many people as we did, considering how insane it was. But just to give you a quick synopsis of our episode today, we have Gina come on our show to talk about some Freakazoid art that she created, and we also have a couple special guests that join us via Skype. So, which I was so glad actually worked because I was just doing the whole Skype connection off of my phone. There was no other internet available, so I was just using my phone as a hotspot and praying that it worked. And for the most part, I think the Skype connection worked really well. I think there might be a couple times in there where it cuts off here or there, but I think for the most part it'll work just fine. And after we talk to our special guests, we kind of reminisce about our podcast, because Kelly, I don't know if you realize this, but we've been doing this podcast now for over 3 years.
Wow.
It's kind of insane. I know.
That's longer than most of my relationships.
Well, the power of Animaniacs just keeps you going. What can I say? And Steven Spielberg. And then we had some Animaniacs audio, which if you're a long-time listener, you'll probably recognize it because it's some Animaniacs auditions. And I kind of spiced it up a little bit and put some visuals along with it as well. I will be sharing those on our YouTube channel soon. So you can check those out on our YouTube channel. And if you've listened to our previous episodes, you've probably listened to them, but it's always nice to hear them once again. And hopefully we'll have some more in the coming weeks, because we're expecting to have Tom Ruegger on once again in the next few weeks. So who knows? We might be lucky and we might get some more. You never know. And let's see, anything else? Oh yeah, Animaniacs trivia, because we gave away some little prizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you'll hear everyone's answers or not. Do we know? They come out?
I don't know right now, but we'll see. You'll all find out, and we'll just find out. Anyway, and which reminds me, one of the prizes, if everything goes as planned, we might be able to give away some of those prizes to our listeners if you see us in San Diego on July 18th, and you see, hey, Nathan, Joey, Kelly, we will give you some stuff for recognizing us and showing that you're actually a listener of our show. We'll give you a little prize, one of the prizes that we gave away at Phoenix Fan Fusion. So we hopefully will have another panel there next year. It was a lot of fun, and if you haven't checked out Phoenix Fan Fusion, well, make sure you check it out next year, because lots of celebrities, lots of fun, and heck, Nathan and I are usually there too. So that's the best thing, right? Okay, well, let's go ahead and get to the audio of our panel. It's 10:30, so it is time to begin. Yeah. And welcome, everybody, to a Phoenix Fan Fusion edition of the Animanicast. And welcome once again to the Animanicast. We are the only podcast out there that's dedicated exclusively to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other things too, such as, Freakazoid and Pinky the Brain and Tiny Toons and all that other stuff, that fun stuff. Long stuff. But joining me, as always, is live in Phoenix, it's my brother, Nathan.
Hi, Joey. I'm touching you.
He's touching me.
Touching you.
Please don't touch me.
Hey.
All right. And we are glad to be here in Phoenix, and this is our first panel we've ever had here. It's exciting.
The first live show.
First live show, let alone.
First time Kelly has not. Oh well.
Yeah, that's
I've
true.
Never seen Kelly actually.
Kelly's never seen in person, but that's besides the point. We are an Animaniacs podcast, as we said, and we have a very special couple guests coming up here in just a few seconds via Skype. So I don't want to delay us that much, but we also have some Animaniacs audition audio as well. Some rarely heard, unless you listen to our podcast, rarely heard audition audio. So let's go ahead and get to some other stuff. So before we get to our audio, let's go ahead and show this wonderful piece of art here by Gina Scaramella. If I'm saying that right. Let's bring up Gina right now. Let's Gina right here. Gina! Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a lovely piece of artwork. Hello, Gina.
Hello.
Get up right to that microphone. Is that microphone on, Nathan?
Yeah, it should be.
I think so, yeah.
It's up there. Okay, good.
Yeah, just put it right up to your face.
Well, Gina, this is a wonderful piece of artwork that we have right here. Tell us, first of all, you're a student. Where are you a student in?
First of all, you guys are very sweet. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
So I am currently a senior at Benedictine University in Mesa.
She's from Mesa, right down the road. Now, this came to our attention because none other than the voice of Freakazoid himself, Paul Rugg, had discovered it, I think from his niece, I want to say.
His niece also goes to Benedictine.
Well, no wonder he got it. So anyway, it's a wonderful piece of artwork. And what was your inspiration for making this, other than Freakazoid? Why did you put it, obviously, in this style and everything?
So my first painting was actually about Sam and Max, which is brand from the 90s. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's kind of an unknown, funny cartoon kind of thing. And so I was trying to think about other cartoons that I wish had more attention. And I was thinking Freakazoid is perfect for that. Like, not nearly enough people know about Freakazoid.
Yeah.
2 seasons.
Yep, only 2 seasons. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're spreading awareness of Freakazoid right there. This is very, very good. And we've been starting to talk about Freakazoid actually on our show because we've gone through all the episodes of Animaniacs on our podcast, and quite frankly, we could not wait to start talking about it. So I think we better get to our special guests right now. So. And I'm hoping the audio is working on this darn thing. We'll find out in a few seconds, shall we? But, Gina, we're going to play a little game right now called This Is Your Life/Art.
Oh, no.
So, Nathan, hit us with the This Is Your Art theme song.
Do-do-do-do. I never saw the show. This is your life, but this is your art.
Very good.
All right. That was wonderful.
Well,
I assume it sounds like that.
Thank you.
Theme song.
let's see if the audio works here. Let's go. Gina, do you recognize this voice from elementary school?
I believe that piece of art is the most important piece of art of the 21st century.
Is that Paul Rugg?
Yes.
Yes, it's Paul Rugg right there. Let's get Paul Rugg and...
Hi.
Hello.
Let's see if I can make...
Hi, people in the room.
Hello.
Let's see. Well, I'm trying to make Paul's voice try to screen bigger, but there, you're fine as you are. Everyone can see you. And well, we have not only you, Paul, on, but we have another voice from your childhood. Other voice?
Gina and I go way back. We were very friendly in grade school. Gina, you may not remember me. I've gotten a little older now, but I am proudly the writer of the following words. Super teen extraordinaire, Freakazoid, runs around in underwear, Freakazoid, rescued Washington, D.C., Freakazoid, unless something better's on TV. Do you know who I am?
Is that Tom?
That's Tom Ruegger.
I figured it out.
You did it.
Hello.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we have from the creator of Animaniacs himself right there. That's Mr. Tom Ruegger. Let's give Tom a big hand.
Oh my gosh.
And Tom, thank you so much for joining us, and Paul as well. Well, what did you first think when you saw this artwork here by Gina?
Well, my niece goes to Mesa, to Benedictine of Mesa, and she sent me this text, and she goes, "This must be a place because they have Freakazoid work." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So she took a picture of it. And I said, all right, you have to find out who did it. And then you helped Joey find Gina, and now Gina and I, we're good friends now.
Yes, indeed. So, Tom, what about you? What do you think about this wonderful piece of artwork?
Well, I just love the heart with there's a heart with an arrow through it. It says TR and PR, which apparently are references to Paul and me, and I just, I love his comedy. I just want to make it clear. It's the comedy I love. But I thought Gina's piece was just great. It captured so many great moments with the lobe and Handman and just so many great things in it. And I'm just so glad that there are people out there like Gina who are keeping the love for Freakazoid alive.
Absolutely. And before we let you two go, because of course, Paul, of course you were the voice of Freakazoid, as we all know.
Yes.
But Paul also wrote some of the most famous episodes of Animaniacs as well. Ups and Downs. We have Cookies for Einstein. Rollover Beethoven. What was your favorite right there? Oh, and we have a young lady here saying, "Tom, you're her hero."
Oh.
So,
thank you.
So, what does it feel?
Can I say this about Paul? About Mr. Rugg?
What about Mr. Rugg?
He wrote the very first episode that introduced Yakko, Wacko, and Duck to the world. I believe it was called Desanitized, was it not, Paul? And that was on the very first episode to ever air, and it really captured those three characters being psychoanalyzed by Dr. Scratch and Sniff. And when it comes to Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, you want to go to Paul Rugg for I think the greatest writing in the series.
Am I allowed to say what my favorite episode is?
Yes.
Okay. My favorite episode is Hearts of Twilight. Where the words have to go upstream, and they have to stop Mr. Director from making it. So that's my favorite.
Freund-Levin.
Freund-Levin, sir. He has spoken Freundleben.
And even though I understand what Paul's saying, one of his greatest writing efforts was Clown and Out.
Absolutely. Spooky clown.
I don't want to do this no more.
Now, Paul, did that come from a fear of clowns yourself, by the way, or how did that episode come about? Because that is one of my favorites as well.
I think Nick Hollander wrote the first draft of it, which was about a fear of clowns, and then we decided to make. Because I think we're running out of time, we decided to make the clown Mr. Director, and then it was all fine. And that, by the way, yesterday, somebody friended me on Facebook, and they sent me a direct message and just typed in, "When the whipper will." So I typed back, "Whippers in the wind. The wind can nice and chubby, baby."
It's the secret language that only we know, right? So there we go. I think we're gonna before we move on and let you two go. I think we should mention that you two recently made a convention appearance of your own, the Freakacon. That if these folks out here aren't familiar with it, Nathan and I were lucky enough to visit the location of the Freakacon recently. We felt blessed
in person. Yeah.
What was the Freakacon? Where can people check this out, Paul?
And will there be another?
Yes.
You can go to on Facebook. There's the Freakacon page, and basically Tom and I decided to do the convention from Tom's garage, and we filmed it. We forgot to invite an audience, but we are going to have a second Freakacon, aren't we, Tom?
Oh, say that again. Is there going to have a second Freakacon where?
Yes.
Yes, you see, the first Freakacon from my garage it was too expensive. So this next one, we're going to go no frills.
Okay. Oh, good. That's something a little less fancy. Yes, the Freakacon was held in Tom Ruegger's garage, and again, you can check out the replay of that wonderful presentation there on Facebook, and it's also on YouTube as well and other places. So please check that out. And quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I think it would be a wonderful idea for Phoenix Fan Fusion, or whatever their name is next year, to invite Tom and Paul to the convention center themselves. Don't you think that would be a great idea? Because I think as fans, we need to see them. We need to shake their hands and say thank you so much for all the work they've done for us. And Gina, I know that you yourself have shown that gratitude with your artwork, and we wanted to say thank you, a little thank you as well, because we have a little Lego.
Stop it.
A little Lego direct from China is a totally not official Freakazoid minifig for Lego. And
oh my gosh, for me, really?
But that's not all. We're also giving you a Freakazoid vinyl decal that you can put on whatever you want.
Yes.
Whatever needs to be freaky. And Tom and Paul, thank you so much for coming as well. Yes, let's all give Tom and Paul a big thank you. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Stay freaky.
See you later. Bye. Good night, everybody. Tom.
Wow, that was it. And let's give a big hand for Gina again. Thank you so much, Gina.
Thank you, guys. so much. This is so sweet. Thank you.
You're
so
very
much.
welcome. And Gina not only did that, but Gina's.
Oh no! Do not show them. They melted.
No. Okay.
Please.
She made Yakko
They look
or
cuter
Wacko or
earlier.
Little Warner cupcakes, and she keeps saying they melted, but something tells me they're still going to taste delicious.
Oh man, they look delicious.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to eat them myself. So
see me doing
thank
this.
you so much, Gina. And let's go ahead and get on with the rest of our little thing. So thank you very much. Well, we're going to have some Animaniacs audition audio in just a few moments. Before we do that, let me just do myself a favor and turn off my hotspot so I don't have to use up any more Wi-Fi. Boop. All right. We're offline. We are the Animanicast, like I mentioned before. We've actually been doing this much. This marks our 3rd year of being in existence, which is kind of insane, I think. We've actually gone through even some of the comic books of Animaniacs as well. We're having fun going through that. There's lots and lots of those.
Yeah, we've done, I think, 14 of them.
So, yeah, some good.
Yeah.
Some not so good.
Not really good at all.
And we've even talked about some of the really bad stuff. Many of you may be familiar with the cartoon A Christmas Plots, but you may not be so familiar with the horrible album A Christmas Plots, the hip-hop musical.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say it's not good.
Yeah. I think that's a direct quote from Tom Ruegger.
Yes. We were talking to Tom. We're like, oh, we're gonna talk about this on our show, and he's like, oh, it's not good.
Yeah. It's okay. We can say it too.
Exactly. So yeah, and I know it's so funny because it's taking A Christmas Plots, of course, was written by Paul Rugg, and then it turned into such an abomination.
Yeah.
But you think like people like Kool Moe Dee was involved. I mean, it's got to be great, but no.
It's a fun episode, though.
So we've been lucky enough on our show to obviously get to know some wonderful people. Tom Ruegger and Paul Rugg. There they are at the Freakathon right there, direct from Tom's garage. Again, a very funny show to watch. So please check that out if you're a Freakazoid fan. And we've also gone into depth of some discussions with Tom Ruegger about the music of Animaniacs. So we've had Randy Rogel on our show talking about just how the show was composed with Richard
Musical
Stone.
compositions. And
We've had some of the writers on our show. John P. McCann has been on. Very funny guy. Wrote some of the things like Meatballs or Consequences, for example, as one of the funnier episodes out there. Also, Charles M. Howell IV was on. He not only wrote a lot of episodes with Gordon Bressick, such as Kelly's going to kill me. The Sistine Chapel.
Michelangelo.
Yeah.
The title of that episode is obviously.
Nobody knows.
Michelangelo.
No. It'll come to me in 2 minutes. What do you remember about that?
Listeners are yelling.
Director of the series, Adu Payton, was actually on. He was a fantastic. He talked to us. If you really want to know about animation, he's like actually an educator. So listening to that one, you're going to get a real in-depth kind of discussion about what Animaniacs was like to animate, and really animation in general. We're also lucky enough to have Sherry Stoner on. Sherry Stoner, of course, was the voice of Slappy Squirrel. Also wrote and produced for Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, and she was adorable. She was great.
We had Slappy on that episode too.
Slappy amazingly came on our show.
Yeah, that was
cool. Remarkable. That was beyond belief. Also, Colin, Randy Beeman kid.
Randy Beeman.
Well, the Randy Beeman kid. This is our first guest. The Randy Beeman kid, aka Colin. He's all grown up, and he was our first guest on our show. He's actually Colin Wells. He's an awesome guy.
He legitimized our podcast.
Yes, totally.
That's how Tom Ruegger
first
got
person
on.
to say, "Hey,
because
that's
it's like,
me."
Colin was on there. I could be on there. It's Tom Ruegger's.
Hooked on a ceiling. Thank you.
Put that back in post. Just fix that.
That was Hooked on a Ceiling.
Okay, fixed it.
There we go. And we've also had the Ruegger boys. We have Nathan, Luke, and gosh, now the
It's too early in the morning.
It really is.
You're supposed to write this in the notes.
That's true. We've also had Tom Ruegger's sons on the show as well. Of course, they did voices for the show. This is what happens when you Cody, Luke, and Nate Ruegger.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't even have to look it up.
Cody's actually, good job, Nathan. Cody's actually a great singer right now. He's actually has some great stuff you can listen to. But that was a great interview as well, listening to them, because they grew up voicing the show. So hearing their memories of working on the show at such a young age was really remarkable. But perhaps I think my highlight so far of doing the show was probably just last December. I was looking for some guests to be on the show, and I reached out to the voice of Pesto, and I said, to Chick Venera, I said, would you like to be on our show? And he goes, oh yeah, I'd love to be on the show with the other guys. That'd be great. And I was like, oh, okay. I haven't seen them in years. And I was like, haven't seen them in years. So I realized very quickly we had to try to reunite John Mariano, Maurice LaMarche, and Chick Venera all together. They hadn't seen each other for 25 years. So we actually all met together in Tom Ruegger's house, and we actually got to record from Tom's house. I drove all the way to, something like that happens, and it wasn't a big deal for my brother, because he already lives in LA.
30 minutes away.
Yeah, so. Exactly. That's 30 minutes. So I'm like, I'm driving 8 hours, and we're going to get this done. And that's a great, personally, I think it's a great...
doing that in Tom Ruegger's house.
Yeah, you get the Emmys up on top, and you're hearing them, we're setting up audio equipment, and then in the other room you hear Maurice LaMarche do his Wacko Warner belch, which is shaking the walls, and we're just we're missing all this.
Save it for the podcast, guys. Come on.
But it's been a really fantastic experience with all this, and hopefully we're going to have a lot more special guests this year as well. Of course, it's the 20th anniversary of Wacko's Wish this year, so we're hoping that we're going to be working with Tom and try to get something special together this year.
Eat your heart out.
Exactly. But let's talk about some Animaniacs news real quick about the reboot. So Nathan, hit us with the Animaniacs news theme song.
It's a special bulletin for the news of the Animaniacs. That's a theme song.
Thank you. Very good, Nathan. So the reboot. This image came out to us, about over a year or something ago. I think it was 2018, January of 2018, I believe. And it was announced that Hulu had ordered 2 seasons of Animaniacs. It was being rebooted, which was great news. We were excited. Then kind of disappointed in some other ways.
Yeah, there was good news and bad news coming through the thing. Well, it's disappointing news, I guess. Not bad news.
The good news is obviously we're getting the Warners back, right? And we're having 2 new seasons, and that's always fantastic. The news that's a little disappointing, I would say, is that Tom Ruegger, the guy we saw up there, was not asked back to be on the show, which did make a lot of people go, "What?"
Yeah.
So he's not writing for the show. There's new writers, and there's actually a new show director, Wellesley Wild, right here, who is best known for things like Family Guy and Ted and things like that. So I'm seeing faces of grimaces.
Oh wait, no.
Come on. Hey, people. Now, there are some
good episodes of Family Guy. No.
There is good news. There are some people that are returning that we are aware of. Randy Rogel, who wrote, of course, many of the most popular songs for Animaniacs, is on, and he's back on doing some stuff, which is fantastic. As well as Steve and Julie Bernstein are coming back on. Steve and Julie Bernstein, of course, did a lot of great music for the compositions for Animaniacs and also Freakazoid and things like that. that. So we're happy that Steve and Julie Bernstein are coming back. Also, that's a big sign that they're probably going to have actual music, like not just like not actual symphonic music, not just a synthesizer, is what I'm trying to say. So that's great news. That's good news.
Because music in Animaniacs is super important.
Well, you need that. It's like the oxygen of the show. Yeah. It keeps it moving. And but let's face it, we would know the difference between the two. Now, when it comes to the main question that people have, which of course is the voice actors, like what about the voice actors? And despite what you might hear online from various people, the voice actors have not confirmed that they are coming back yet.
But
there's NDAs, and I had
they have not.
We had the
that
good.
They're not
now I'm going to show a picture right here from Maurice LaMarche. We can't tell you what we're working on. Really, we can't. Please don't try to guess because we can't tell you. We'll be in real trouble. And of course, we have Rob Paulsen right there. We have Maurice LaMarche, Tress MacNeille, and Jess Harnell all together, and Jeff Bennett's behind them as well. And when you kind of put those people together in the same room and say, "We can't tell you what we're doing. It's really cool." We all know what it is, really. And honestly, it was so funny because we had our Good Feathers reunion right after Maurice LaMarche took this picture, and I wanted to ask him so much, like, you can tell me.
We won't say anything.
I couldn't. I didn't say anything. But so, and of course, like I'm going to totally mispronounce his name, but he's the voice of Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life, Carlos Alazraqui. Sure. He recently did like a little Instagram post with Jess, Rob, and Tress all together right there.
Recording something.
And when he said, "Hey, say hey, everybody," say hi, they kind of did their Animaniacs Warner's voices right there, so as saying hi. So again, if I were a betting man, I'd bet heavily on the voices are coming back.
It's heavily implied, I would say.
Heavily. But until the official announcements are made, which should be hopefully in a couple months, they're not going to say anything.
Yeah,
because it's very easy to replace a voice actor. It sometimes happens even during the show. Sometimes I've seen a couple times that happen. As for the look of the Animaniacs, this is by one of the storyboard artists. This was done by Carl Hadrika. He put this out on Twitter. I would not expect them to necessarily look exactly like this. He just said he's working on the show, and he kind of put that out. Now, storyboard artists, of course, doesn't mean they're going to be drawing everybody on model and everything like that. So I wouldn't expect them to look like that. It's more of a sketchy kind of thing. But the closest I think we've gotten is this next thing right here. The Animaniacs Monopoly just came out recently. There's Animaniacs merchandise hitting shelves more and more. Kid Robot just put out some pretty cool blind packaged figures. Has anybody seen these? There's blind packaged figures of Kid Robot, and not only are they doing Animaniacs figures, but also Tiny Toons figures, and somewhere in there, the chase figure is
Freakazoid.
So, I mean, I can actually, if you really want that Freakazoid figure, I went on eBay to see how much it was, because you never know when you're opening these boxes. I think a guy was selling it for $70 or something like that.
Wow.
So, So they have keychains and pins and little minifigures, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, of all the merchandise that's going to be coming out for Animaniacs. Yeah, there's going to be more and more,
because the show's not even out yet. I mean, the new seasons.
Yeah, exactly. So, really, what we're looking at with this, there was nothing official saying this is what they look like, but this is not our typical Animaniacs symbol that we've seen for many, many years. This looks new, and
it's different. It's new.
Yeah,
it's slightly different.
It could be done by just somebody at the Monopoly game.
Yeah, maybe they don't know anything. Maybe they think Yakko's an angry person. And that's why they made him angry.
Yakko does look very angry in that. Doesn't he look angry, and his eyeballs look all crisscrossed and everything? Yeah. I really don't like this. But The other two look pretty good. Yeah, the other two, I think I would agree. I think Dot and Wacko almost look identical, except for like
one has a hat,
one has a bow. But so it looks good. It looks good, but it does look a little simplified. Perhaps kind of what I'm thinking is kind of like sort of Flash animation. You know how like a lot of cartoons now are like DuckTales and stuff are kind of a mixture of Flash animation with hand drawn as well. And if there's one thing that Animaniacs had in its original seasons, it was kind of the variance of styles, which I really like personally.
Yeah, they're very malleable. They could do anything
depending on the animation studio. So we had Star Toons on the side right here doing the introduction for Slappy Squirrel, and then doing the Wheel of Morality was TMS, and then we had some horrible animation from Freelance Animation, and then we had some good animation again from Wang Animation. So these were, but you can see right here the differences. The Warners changed their look. I don't think they're going to do that much in the new series.
They'll be more consistent at least.
Yeah.
The Animaniacs and the Monopoly, it's like off-center.
It is a little off-center. It's just a little off. But so they're probably aiming for that TMS style, I would think. If they aim for TMS, that would probably be the best. That is highly regarded as the best animation style for Animaniacs. Now, for actual official news, it's probably coming up. Is there anybody here that's going to San Diego Comic-Con? Anybody? Everyone's saying, I wish.
Joey, I am.
Oh, yes. Nathan and I are sort of going. To the adjacent area.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And you can too. Out there. July 18th, there's going to be Animaniacs in concert.
That's
Sometimes
what we're doing.
Called Animaniacs Live. They tour around. This, of course, is usually Rob and Randy doing the songs of Animaniacs. It's a fantastic show. I know you've seen it. Has anyone else seen this wonderful show? Heard of it. They've heard of it. They've seen it on YouTube. Do yourselves a favor. This is a totally great show. You should totally do it. In fact, some tickets are as little as, I think it was either $29 or $39, and they're going to be at the Balboa Theater in San Diego.
They're going to have special guests?
Special guests, yes, because most shows it's just Rob and Randy. But this one's going to have Maurice LaMarche in it, Jess Harnell. It's going to have other special guests. So I'm assuming Tress MacNeille might make an appearance.
Steven Spielberg.
Maybe. It might happen. I don't know.
Just assuming it. I don't know.
It's right outside of San Diego Comic-Con. So honestly, I think that probably the new showrunner is going to be, Leslie Wilde's probably going to be there. And honestly, I think they're probably going to put out some of the stuff right here. Pikachu just walked in. There he is. Hello, Pikachu. This is the Animanicast recording. Guest appearance by Pikachu. So I'd really highly recommend you check that out. But just in case you don't, well, we'll be there. We'll cover it for you.
And this will be the first time I get to meet Kelly.
Exactly. one of our co-hosts, she can't be here, number one, because she lives in Georgia, and number two, because she's in Disney World. But we have our third co-host, who I've been lucky enough to meet in person for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know why she agreed to do this.
I have no idea. You know why? Because she loves Animaniacs.
That's true.
And you say to anybody, do you want to be on an Animaniacs podcast? They're going to probably say yes. Now, if I said to her, would you like to do an Animaniacs podcast for the next 3 years plus, she would probably go, no.
No, thanks. Yeah, that's.
But I tricked her. Well, let's go ahead and get to some rarely heard Animaniacs auditions. Ooh. And these are auditions that actually were initially first shown heard on the Animanicast through one of our discussions with Tom Ruegger. Tom's been on our show 5 or 6 times, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think we're planning on having him on again real soon. So these are from cassette tapes that he just found laying around. going to his house is such a weird thing because he has like these papers and scripts and just all this stuff that was never adapted. That was like just on the edge of being completed. So these are going to be some. Let's start off with auditions, I guess, for Wacko.
Yes.
Okay. So we do not have Jess Harnell's audition, but we have some other voice actors that you may be familiar with. Let's start off right here with Maurice LaMarche, who of course is best known for doing the Brain.
LaMarche as Wacko. We're the Warner Brothers, and I'm Wacko. No, man, we're not making fun of you. This is making fun of you. Hello, nurse. Now you've gone and hurt my feelings. How's about a little kiss? Guess what I am? That's right. I'm a lunatic.
A very different voice right there.
They're the Warner Brothers, and I'm Wacko.
He did too.
Oh, man, Fever making fun of you. This is making fun of you. Hello, nurse. Now you've gone and hurt my feelings. How's about a little kiss? That's what I am. That's right. I'm a lunatic.
Okay, so yes, like I was saying, very different look. So at the time, the voice actors, they're just given the model sheet.
Yeah,
they
just have that sheet, and you have like this crazy
so a lot of
kid
these
with a tongue out. And...
Yeah, the tongue out. And you see, a lot of these people just look at the tongue, so they start kind of doing a with their tongue.
Yeah, lots of lispings.
And Jess, of course, did a very reserved and as soon as that was it really stood out, obviously. Now here's Nancy Cartwright. Nancy Cartwright did Mindy's
Bart
voice
Simpson.
and Bart Simpson, of course, as well. So this is and many more. So here's Nancy Cartwright.
We're the Warner Brothers, and I'm Wacko. No, ma'am, we're not making fun of you. This is making fun of you. Hello, nurse. No, you've gone. Hurt my feelings. So how's my little kiss? Guess what I am? That's right, I'm a lunatic. Would you like to crash in a car? Carry your own guts home in a jar. You'd be better off than you are. 'Cause you really are a jerk.
All right. But perhaps the weirdest one, and when we initially shared this on our show, Tom Ruegger had no idea this even existed. Rob Paulsen, who does Yakko's voice, of course, auditioned for Wacko. So we have a couple of those, and I'll show one of them right now.
We're the Warner Brothers, and I'm Wacko. No, ma'am, we are absolutely not making fun of you. This is making fun of you. Hello, nurse. Now you've gone and destroyed my feelings. How about a little kiss? Guess what I am. Ready? That's right. I am a lunatic. Thank you. Would you like to crash in a car? Carry your own guts home in a jar. You'd be better off than you are. Listen, 'cause you really are a jerk.
All right, so right there you can definitely hear that tongue out right there with Rob's singing. He's definitely the best at the singing part, I think, of all the the ones that we have. Let's jump over to Dot. We only have one, and of course it's Tress MacNeille. So here's Tress MacNeille as Dot Warner.
Tress MacNeille as Dot, and my name is Princess Angelina Contessa Louisa Francesca Banana Fana Profesca the Third Jew. You can call me Dot. They call me Dottie, and you die. Hiya, kiddo. Give us a little kiss. So, am I as cute as you thought I'd be before you met me? You know, cuteness runs in my genes. And I wear a skirt.
That right there, I mean, you could tell it's Dot, but it's kind of almost sounds a little more Shirley Temple-ish kind of. It's different. It definitely is different. It's slightly different, but it definitely is a little different. It was definitely an improvement for her to the way that it came out. Let's go to some of the lesser known, some of the side characters. And by the way, we should mention, which we didn't. The Animaniacs reboot, probably not going to have any of the side characters that we're really loving so much.
Pinky and the Brain will be in every episode.
Yes, they did say Pinky and the Brain. Again, we're dealing with Hulu, which is like and a bunch of new executive producers who kind of say, well, what's the most popular?
Yeah,
these people,
Pinky and the Brain,
the Warners and Pinky and the Brain. Those are the things we can make the most toys out of, right? And lesser known characters such as the Good Feathers or Slappy Rita and Runt or Slappy Squirrel. Now here's Slappy. I know when I was a kid, I wasn't a big fan of Slappy Squirrel. As soon as I hit 20, I was like, oh my gosh, Slappy's the best character on the show. And Sherry Stoner has not been contacted, as far as we know, not been contacted to come back as the voice of her. And if I were a betting guy, I can't tell you why I think this is until if it even happens at all. Number one, I don't think Slappy's going to be on the show. It may be in the background walking around.
Yeah, you could have a model of her, right?
Yeah, just walking around in the background. But if she is voiced, I think it's probably going to be Tress MacNeille. And I can't tell you right now why I think that, but
she
I think I was talking to somebody and they kind of let something slip in a way, and I was like, what? Like, Tress doesn't do the voice of Slappy. And then they were like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, I feel like Sherry Stoner, unfortunately, won't be doing that, which is so insane, because if you listen to our Sherry Stoner interview, that's her. I mean,
she still has.
And she came up with that. I mean, Sherry Stoner. That's based upon characters that she created through her improv and through years and years of this kind of character that's is like just the old star and everything. So it would be so sacrilege to me for someone else to take it. But let's go to the Good Feathers right here. So this is the Good Feathers actually have totally different names in this one too. They're not Bobby, Squit, and Pesto. They're like Frankie, Joey, and something else.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Maurice LaMarche as Joey, like 41. Take. Hey, Joey, the way you dove in for that crust of bread and get squished by that Chevy Nova? Man, you sure are funny.
Funny? Oh, am I funny to you? What am I, some sort of clown to you?
Oh, Joey, it's just...
Well, you think I'm here for your amusement? Like I'm some kind of a comedian or something like that?
Oh, no. Hey, Frankie, help me out here.
What? You talking to me, Gary?
Huh? You talking to me? There's no one else here. You must be talking to me. Well, sorry I brought it up.
What's that supposed to mean?
All right. So you can see, it's the same kind of setup, but... they had to change those names up. I think it's funny that Frankie, it's like Joey was, like Joe Pesci, right? And then turns into Pesto. But then Frankie was the Robert De Niro character who they later called Bobby. So it's kind of like they still had that one. Wouldn't it make more sense just call one Joey, one Bobby, one, whatever. I guess they were worried about getting sued. Whatever. Couldn't be too close. Pinky and the Brain?
I like Pinky and the Brain.
All right, Pinky and the Brain auditions. I actually just shared some of these with Maurice LaMarche because he was like, I don't even think... Were you there when we were talking to him about the auditions? And he... when we were at Tom's house, and he was like, I thought I was the only person that auditioned, and you just said that I got it.
It's like, no,
there were other people.
We have tapes.
Tapes proving you wrong, Mr. LaMarche. So here's Pinky the Brain, starting off with, here we are, Rob Paulsen and Joe Alaskey. Joe Alaskey did Plucky Duck's voice, in case you didn't know. So Rob Paulsen is going to be doing Pinky, Joe Alaskey the Brain. Very different.
Oh, gee, Ray, laugh! What do you want to do tonight, then?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Gee, God, Ray! Your genius astounds me!
Start in logic, Pinky. Follow me.
So that brain right there, very similar to kind of like the voice of, and I'm forgetting the actor's name, but he used to like the old 1930s, 40s actor from Mutiny on the Bounty or something. Mr. Christian and stuff, I don't know. Moving on. So now Joe Alaskey is going to be doing Pinky's voice, and Maurice LaMarche is the brain. This is the one that I think Maurice remembers the most, because he saw the brain and he said, oh, that's Orson Welles. So he immediately did that.
Maurice LaMarche as Brain. Take 112.
Gee, Brain, what do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
He did, Brain. Your genius astounds me.
Sparking logic, Pinky. Follow me.
So you can see, like, there was Rob Paulsen on the first one right there, almost hitting Pinky.
Yeah,
like just
really
a little tweak it down, and that's Pinky as we know it. But Maurice, boom, right from the beginning, just that's the brain. And I asked him if they ever auditioned together. You know, Rob and Maurice did they go in together to do the voices like that? And he said his recollection was separately. So there you go. But Maurice came back. Now he's doing one here with Frank Welker. Frank did voices. Frank is a voiceover legend. He's now, of course, he's Fred on Scooby-Doo. Now he's also Scooby-Doo on Scooby-Doo now too, and Hefty Smurf and Runt on this. He's the Abu in Aladdin, and goes on and on. I think he has the biggest IMDb page in the world. But here he is with Maurice LaMarche, and this is something that Maurice LaMarche did not remember, and he does not know who got him to do. No, he does not know who got him to do this voice.
Maurice LaMarche is the Brain. Take 102.
Gee, Brain, yes. What do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
He does, Brain. Your genius astounds me.
Spartan logic, Pinky. Follow me.
So a Walter Matthau kind of.
Like an Igor for Frank Welker or something.
Yeah, something crazy. I mean, it kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
And finally, Frank Welker doing both voices.
Frank Welker as the Brain, line 72.
Oh, geez, Brain. Mark, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
He's God, Brain. Your genius astounds me.
Spartan logic, Pinky. Follow me.
Okay, now is there anybody out here, film people, that know what voice Frank Welker was doing right there for the Brain? Peter Lorre. Yeah, exactly. There's the great Peter Lorre voice right there. Yeah, that was, and you could hear Tom who was showing this laughing on top of that, because that was a weird brain. That would be definitely an alternate universe right there. Okay. Let's get back to the Warners, and let's start with let's go with Yakko. This is going to be Yakko Warner auditions with Dr. Scratch and Sniff.
Oh yeah, these are fun.
Get away from me!
Gee, Doctor, that's an awfully big nose for you.
Leave me alone!
How do you make your veins pop out like that? You look like a road map.
I'm leaving!
No, don't go away insulted. Just go away.
You're driving me crazy!
I
wish we were driving you to the airport.
Rob Paulsen is Dr.
Okay, so very Groucho, Rob Paulsen, right? We all know Yakko is, modeled after in a lot of mannerisms of Groucho, but that one was huge Groucho right
Do we know who was doing Dr. Scratch?
I want to say that was Joe Alasky, but Tom didn't know. So
it's a mystery.
It's a mystery. Maybe it was the real Dr. Scratch and Sniff. I don't know. Rob Paulsen and Maurice LaMarche. So Rob Paulsen is once again, I believe, doing Yakko, and then Maurice LaMarche is doing Dr. Scratch and Sniff.
Scratch and Sniff, Maurice LaMarche as Yakko, take 139.
Get away from me. Gee, Doctor, that's an awfully big nose for you.
Leave me alone.
How do you make your veins pop out like that? You look like a road map.
I am leaving.
Aw, don't go away insulted. Just go away.
You're driving me crazy.
I wish we were driving you to the airport.
Okay, so yes, that was Rob Paulsen as Dr. Scratch and Sniff and Maurice LaMarche.
Very much how he is.
That was it.
Yeah,
that is definitely.
He definitely had it right on.
Yep. Okay, so.
Scratch and Sniff, Maurice LaMarche, Rob Paulsen, Yakko, take 133.
Get away from me!
Gee, Doctor, that's an awfully big nose for you to have.
Leave me alone!
How do you make your veins pop out like that? You look like a road map.
I'm leaving.
Hey, don't go away insulted, bud. Just go away.
You're driving me crazy!
I wish we were driving you to the airport.
And that was pretty much just Rob Paulsen's just voice. It was just very, not as much Groucho, not as much Yakko, but almost just how he sounds. Okay, well, we're going to get to some trivia in just a few moments and give some giveaways. But before we do, we have one little thing. Let's hear Wacko and Dr. Scratch and Sniff.
Welker as Wacko, Maurice LaMarche as Scratch and Sniff, 159.
Guess what I am? Hello!
You're a dog.
No, guess again. Oh! We're elephants. You get it? And he's duck, huh?
Rob Paulsen as Wacko, 131, 181.
That's what I am.
You're a dog.
No, guess again. Oh! I'm an elephant. Get it? Neat joke, huh?
All right, so then that was like, well, what's the voice from Goof Troop and
Pete or what? Or not Pete's kids.
PJ. Yeah, that was a PJ voice, or the Johnny. What's the other one with the?
Oh, on
Nickelodeon. Jimmy Neutron's friend, Carl Weezer. Carl Weezer voice. Croissant. All right, let's get to some Animaniacs trivia, though. Woo, because we have some giveaways before we go. Okay, now Gina at the beginning of this got she got one of a kind Freakazoid decal, but she also got one of these little knockoff, totally unofficial Lego figs right here. So we got a couple to give away. Ooh,
they look like Freakazoid for the listeners.
Nathan, I'm gonna read the question, and then and he's going to pick somebody who raises their hand.
Close my eyes.
No, you can't. You got to look.
What?
And whoever raises their hand and has you have to keep. So we're sorry if you both raise it at the same time. Yeah. Here we go. Here's question number 1. You're going to have to tell me who this person is. This character, this one's kind of hard, but I'm going to say it anyway. This character is also known as the Desire Fulfillment Facilitator. And this character was voiced by Ben Stein. Who is he? Pip. Pip is correct. Pip talks about Bob Barker. Bob Barker. And cheese balls. Don't get into a conversation with him. Okay, someone give me a question. What is it? One of the survey questions that the survey ladies ask, and would you like to take a survey? Oh, she has.
Have you ever ate beans with George Wendt?
That's definitely a question. If you ever eat beans with George Wendt, is one of the things that. Would you like to take a survey? Now, that's not it, ladies and gentlemen. I gave out those, but that's not it. Because we got decals.
Oh wait,
there's more. We got a Yakko decal. We got a Yakko, Wacko, and Dot decal. And we have a Put a Brain in the White House decal. I handmade these. I'm so talented. All right, so we're going to get some other questions here. Oh, okay. And I'll let you pick if you get it right. What is the name of the wise sage who lives on top of Mount Gesundheit?
I don't know who wrote it.
I'm gonna guess it's. Man, should we have a like? I think it was you two at the same time. So we're gonna come both up at the same time, and we're gonna have. If you want to win a decal, come up at the same time. I'm gonna ask you a follow-up question. Here we go. Tiebreaker. You don't have to come up. You can stay there, and we'll just see who did it. And if we did, okay. Here we go. What game did the Warners play against Death for Wacko's Soul?
Chess!
Nathan?
It was checkers. I don't know who said it, though. We named it like buzzers or something.
They need to say, we're going to try it one last time. This time, instead of raising your hand, you say your first name, and then we'll call on you.
Okay.
This is just these two. Here we go. Okay. Name one of the famous painters that the Warners helped.
Michelangelo.
Is that your name?
Oh.
Matt!
They got it right. We're going to give it to her anyway. We're going to give it to Michelangelo. Which one? You can let her pick which one she wants. Let her pick. All right. Netherlands. Let's give her a hand. That was a hard one. Okay. What was the collective name? I'll have to look up for our audience. What was the collective name of the Goodfeathers girlfriends?
That's good.
You put them all together. You have the Goodfeathers on one end, and then you have their girlfriends on the other side. The girl. No, just like you put all three together. You have, Bobby and Squid and Pesto. There's the Goodfeathers. And then you have the girls who I don't even know their names. And they're the girls. So with the what? No, we have to have hands raising up. Yes. No, they are girls. They are girls, and they do.
Lady feathers.
No. The girl feathers. But you didn't raise your hand. I am a teacher, and I am all for raising hands. We have one more. Okay. Now this one. Okay, we have the Yakko. Okay, here we go. This is for the Yakko. What are the Warners according to the Warners? They're not dogs or cats. Nathan, who raised their hand first?
I saw Matt first, but I don't know.
He raised it first.
I think.
Okay, Matt, what do you think?
Puppy creatures.
No.
Okay.
I think I saw her. Yeah. Cute is the answer. Thank you so much. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for the Animaniacs panel. You've been a fantastic audience. I hope you had fun. If you have any questions about our podcast, or you'd like to learn a bit more, or you just want to have a great souvenir, we have business cards, and you can take them. And we usually charge $50 an autograph, but even if you want us to sign it, we'll even sign it. I don't know why you would want us to sign it, but we don't charge.
Today only.
Yeah, today only.
We got to do our sign off.
All right. Oh, yes. So we got to do our sign off because we're doing the thing. So you've been a great audience. Let's give it up for Phoenix Fan Fusion. Yay! Woo! And for Nathan, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right. This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.